Hong Kong. A narrow alley in Kowloon. Late evening, 1958. Bruce Lee stands face to face with Chen, a local gang leader known for brutal street fights. 5 men surround them. Anyone watching would expect violence. Bruce is 18. Chen is 25–40 pounds heavier, with a reputation for sending people to the hospital. Chen blocks Bruce's path. His hand rests on Bruce's chest. The message is clear: pay protection money, or pay with blood. Bruce doesn't raise his hands, doesn't take a defensive stance. Instead, he does something no one expects. He steps closer, leans in, whispers something in Chen's ear. Chen's face changes. First confusion, then shock, then something that looks like fear. He steps back, raises his hand to his gang. "We're leaving." They walk away. No punches thrown, no violence. Just words no one else heard. What could Bruce Lee whisper to make a street gang leader, a man who'd built his reputation on violence, simply walk away? To understand, we need to rewind 3 months. Hong Kong, summer, 1958. Bruce Lee was 18 years old, studying Wing Chun under IP Man, working as a dance instructor, and building a reputation in the streets of Kowloon. Not as a fighter, as someone who understood fighting. The distinction mattered. Hong Kong's streets in the late 1950s ran on a simple economy territory: respect, money. Street gangs controlled neighborhoods. Business owners paid protection fees. Young martial artists either joined gangs or stayed invisible. Bruce was becoming impossible to ignore. He'd won several challenge matches. Not the illegal kind, the kind where martial arts schools tested their students against each other. Bruce's Wing Chun defeated practitioners from other styles. Word spread. When your reputation grows in Hong Kong's martial arts community, you attract attention from 2 groups: students who want to learn from you, and fighters who want to prove you're not as good as people say. Chen represented the second group. Chen ran a small gang in Kowloon, 5 guys who collected protection money from shops on 3 streets. Nothing major by Hong Kong standards, but enough to make Chen feel powerful. Chen had studied some martial arts, enough to handle untrained fighters, enough to intimidate shop owners, but nothing formal, nothing disciplined. When Chen heard about Bruce Lee, this 18-year-old kid winning challenge matches, teaching Wing Chun, walking around Kowloon like he owned the streets, Chen took it personally. "Who does this kid think he is?" Chen said to his crew. "Someone needs to teach him respect." Chen knew Bruce walked home from IP Man's school every Tuesday and Thursday night, passing through Chen's territory. Chen decided Tuesday would be the night. Bruce left IP Man's school around 9 p.m. The class had focused on Chi Sao, sticky hands training, and Bruce's mind was still processing the session. IP Man had taught them about listening, about feeling an opponent's energy before they move. "Don't think about the next move," IP Man had said. "Feel it. Your body knows before your mind does." Bruce walked his usual route home, through the narrow streets of Kowloon. He knew these streets, knew which alleys were safe, which weren't, knew the shopkeepers, the street vendors, the faces that changed depending on time of night. He also knew when he was being followed. 3 blocks from IP Man's school, Bruce noticed 2 men matching his pace on the opposite sidewalk, not looking at him directly, but clearly tracking him. 4 more blocks, another man joined them. Bruce didn't change his pace, didn't look over his shoulder, but his awareness shifted. IP Man had trained them for this. Not just physical attacks, but psychological ones. How to read a situation before it escalates. Bruce turned down a narrower alley, one that would take him home. The men followed. They were no longer pretending. Halfway down the alley, Chen stepped out from a doorway, blocking Bruce's path. The 3 men who'd been following closed in from behind. Bruce stopped walking, counted 6 men total. Chen in front, 5 others forming a loose circle around him. The alley was narrow, maybe 8 feet wide. Old residential buildings on both sides. Lights in some windows, but no one looking out. People in Kowloon learned not to watch when gangs conducted business. Chen smiled. "Bruce Lee. We finally meet." Bruce said nothing. His weight was balanced. His hands relaxed at his sides. He looked calm, but every sense was heightened. "You've been walking through my streets," Chen continued. "Teaching your fancy kung fu, acting like you're somebody important." "I'm just walking home," Bruce said. "These are my streets. You walk through them. You pay respect." "I'm not interested in your business." Chen's smile faded. That's disrespectful. You know what happens to people who disrespect me. I've heard stories. Then you know I don't like being disrespected. Chen stepped closer, put his hand on Bruce's chest. Not a strike, a claim. A physical statement of dominance. This was the moment everyone expected Bruce to fight. Bruce was trained. He'd won challenge matches against fighters bigger than Chen. He understood leverage, timing, precision. He could have disabled Chen with a rapid combination of Wing Chun strikes. Elbow to throat, knee to groin, trap the arm, sweep the leg, and been past the others before they reacted. Bruce had played out the scenario in his mind. The moment he realized he was being followed, he knew exactly how the fight would go, but he also knew how it would end. Beat Chen here, in front of his crew, and Chen loses face. Loses his ability to control his territory. Men like Chen don't accept that loss. They retaliate, not tonight, but tomorrow, or next week. They bring more people. They escalate. They make it personal. And it wouldn't just be Bruce at risk. His family lived in Hong Kong. His younger siblings. His mother. Men like Chen knew how to find leverage. Fighting Chen would win the battle, but guarantee a longer war. Bruce's mind flashed to something IP Man had said during training. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. If you can resolve conflict without fighting, you've demonstrated superior skill. But how do you resolve a conflict when a gang leader has his hand on your chest and 5 men surrounding you? Bruce made a decision that surprised everyone watching. He didn't step back. He stepped forward, closed the distance between himself and Chen, got inside Chen's personal space. Close enough that Chen's hand fell away from Bruce's chest. Close enough that fighting would be awkward for both of them. Chen's eyes widened slightly. This wasn't the reaction he'd expected. Bruce leaned in, his mouth next to Chen's ear, and whispered something. Only Chen heard it. The whisper lasted maybe 3 seconds. Then Bruce stepped back to a normal conversational distance. Chen's face went through a series of changes. First, confusion. What did this kid just say? Then realization, understanding what Bruce meant. Then, something that looked like fear, mixed with calculation. Chen stepped back, looked at Bruce for a long moment. The 5 gang members watched, waiting for Chen's signal. They expected him to give the order to attack. Instead, Chen raised his hand. "We're leaving." "What?" one of the gang members said. "But boss, I said we're leaving." Chen's voice was sharp. Final. The gang members looked at each other, confused. This wasn't how these situations ended, but Chen was the boss. They followed. Chen gave Bruce one last look, a mixture of respect and warning, then turned and walked away. His crew followed. Bruce stood alone in the alley. From the windows above, a few faces peered out, surprised. One of them was Mrs. Zhang, who ran the noodle shop on the corner. She'd seen the whole thing. The next day, Mrs. Zhang told everyone what she witnessed. The gang surrounded him. Chen put his hand on him. Everyone thought there'd be a fight, but Bruce leaned in, said something no one could hear, and they left. Just walked away. No one touched him. The story spread through Kowloon, like fire through dry grass. Everyone wanted to know, what did Bruce whisper? Some people said it was a threat, that Bruce told Chen he had powerful connections, maybe to a bigger gang, maybe to the police. Others said it was a warning, that Bruce told Chen he knew something dangerous about him, a secret that could destroy Chen's reputation. Some romantic versions claimed it was ancient wisdom, some profound philosophical statement that made Chen realize violence was meaningless. The truth was simpler and more complex. What Bruce whispered was this: "I know you're trying to prove you're strong. Beating me proves that to these 5 men tonight. But tomorrow, everyone knows you needed 5 men to fight an 18-year-old student. That's not respect. That's weakness. Let me walk away, and no one knows you couldn't beat me alone. Attack me, and I make sure everyone knows you needed help. Your choice." 5 seconds. A handful of sentences. Over in just a few seconds. It wasn't a threat of violence. It was a threat to something Chen valued more than violence. His reputation. Chen had built his power on the perception of strength. He controlled his territory because people believed he was dangerous. Belief was his currency. If Chen beat Bruce with 5 men helping, the story wouldn't be Chen is strong. It would be Chen needed 5 guys to beat up a kid. That story would spread faster than any victory. Other gangs would see weakness. Shop owners would stop paying. Chen's authority would crumble. But if Chen let Bruce walk away, he could control the narrative. He could say Bruce wasn't worth his time. He could claim he showed mercy. He could maintain the perception of strength through restraint, rather than violence. Bruce's whisper gave Chen a choice. Win the fight but lose his reputation, or walk away and maintain his power. Bruce had studied Chen before this confrontation. Knew Chen's reputation was based on intimidation more than actual fighting skill. Knew Chen valued respect above everything. Knew Chen was smart enough to calculate long-term consequences. The whisper was psychological warfare, and it was more effective than any punch Bruce could have thrown. When IP Man heard about the incident, he called Bruce to his school. "I heard about your encounter with Chen," IP Man said. "Yes. Sifu. Tell me what happened." Bruce recounted the confrontation, including what he whispered. IP Man was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "You understand something many martial artists never learn," IP Man said. "Fighting isn't about proving you can win. It's about achieving the objective with minimum cost." "I could have beaten him," Bruce said. "I played out the fight in my mind. I could have gotten past all 6. "Probably," IP Man agreed. "But then what? Chen retaliates. His gang comes after you. Or your family. The conflict expands. Where does it end?" "Exactly what I thought. You used your greatest weapon, your mind. You understood Chen's psychology. You gave him a way to back down without losing everything. That's wisdom." IP Man walked to the window, looking out at the Hong Kong streets. "Most people think martial arts is about fighting," he continued. "But the highest level isn't about winning fights. It's about not needing to fight. You demonstrated that tonight." "But what if he hadn't listened?" Bruce asked. "What if he'd attacked anyway? Then you would have fought, and you would have won. But you gave him the option to choose wisdom. That's all you can do." This philosophy, that the highest form of victory requires no battle, became central to Bruce's understanding of martial arts. Years later, when Bruce developed Jeet Kune Do, he would emphasize this principle. The best fighter isn't a boxer, karate, or judo man. The best fighter is someone who can adapt to any style. He kicks too good for a boxer, throws too good for a karate man, and punches too good for a judo man. But the best fighter doesn't need to fight. The incident with Chen taught Bruce that understanding psychology, understanding what people fear, what they value, what they're trying to protect, is more powerful than physical skill. Chen never bothered Bruce again. 2 years later, when Bruce was preparing to leave for America, Chen sent a message through a mutual contact. "Tell Lee I respect what he did that night. He could have embarrassed me. He didn't. That's real strength." The story of Bruce's whisper became something of a legend in Hong Kong's martial arts community. Different versions circulated, each adding details, each speculating about what was said. But the core truth remained. Bruce Lee faced down a gang without throwing a punch, because he understood that real power isn't about proving you can fight. It's about understanding when you don't need to. So here's the question for you. How often do you choose to fight when you could choose not to? Not physical fights. Most of us aren't facing street gangs, but arguments that don't need to happen. Conflicts that feed your ego more than they solve problems. Battles you'd win, but that would cost you more than victory is worth. Real power isn't about proving you're right. It's about knowing when walking away serves you more than being right ever could. Bruce could have destroyed Chen that night. Could have proven his Wing Chun was superior. Could have established himself as someone not to mess with. Instead, he gave Chen a way to walk away. And in doing so, Bruce won something more valuable than a street fight. He won respect, avoided escalation, and demonstrated mastery beyond physical technique. The next time you're in a conflict, whether it's an argument at work, a disagreement with a partner, or some challenge to your ego, ask yourself, am I fighting because I need to, or because I want to prove something? Sometimes the strongest move is the whisper, not the punch. If this story made you think differently about what strength really means, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories about Bruce Lee, philosophy, and the moment when wisdom defeats violence. And comment below. What's a situation where you chose not to fight, and it turned out to be the stronger move? Where did walking away prove more powerful than winning?